Across the South Coast, live from Solent University, you're listening to Solent Sports News.
Good afternoon, it's 3 o'clock, I'm Jamie Somerville and these are your Solent Sports News headlines. Could there be some magic at Eastleigh this season in the FA Cup? Last season, Eastleigh saw off Reading and took League Two side Newport County to a replay. Head of media, Matt Gibbs, is excited for this year's campaign.
We got a tough draw against Southend. That wouldn't have been one that I don't think anyone would have been looking for in the first round of the competition, because they're a sort of tough side that we lost to only a few weeks ago. But I'm positive going into it. Hopefully we can give them a game at the very least and try and get something from it and then push on from there.
And stay tuned for our live at 4 p.m. as our team are in Eastleigh to get the feelings of the fans before the game. Into the Premier League now, and Nottingham Forest have been fined £750,000 after posting comments about VAR official Stuart Atwell on social media. They referred to him as a Luton fan after claiming they'd been denied 3 penalties during a defeat to Everton last season. Forest and Luton were Premier League rivals at the time. A former England midfielder has said Lee Carsley is protecting himself by saying that he doesn't expect to be the country's next full-time manager. He's in interim charge while the FA considers a permanent successor for Gareth Southgate. After a shock 2-1 defeat to Greece at Wembley in the Nations League last night, Carsley said he thinks he'll be back with the under-21 side soon.
This is his trial. There's no doubt about that. You know, let's be honest, it wasn't great last night. He knows that. The players know that. Listen, if he's been given an opportunity to take the job, I'm pretty sure that Lee Carsley will want it.
Bragging rights are on the line this Sunday as Saints women face Portsmouth in the Women's Championship. Pompey are yet to take a point in the league and sit rooted to the bottom of the table. Blues boss Jay Sadler wants this to be the turning point of their season.
And at that point, obviously, Southampton full-time team then, and we were transitioning to become that, obviously, over the summer. But in that game, I felt we were a match. And at times, we looked really on top of that game. But ultimately, for us, yes, there's a score to settle, and it's a derby game. And ultimately, all the cliches of the form goes out the window. It's ultimately who wants it, heart and desire. But you also have to have quality to win these types of games.
Wales defender Ben Davies is excited by the fresh approach Craig Bellamy has brought to the national team. He's had an unbeaten start since replacing Rob Page and looks to keep that run going away to Iceland in the Nations League tonight. Davies says the squad's buying into Bellamy's methods.
The new manager's come in, has been to play a game where we try to be dominant with the ball, we try to create as many chances as we can. Look, when we've built on, pretty solid bedrock of what we've got in this team, to try and add that creativity and excitement in there, it bodes well for us.
Scotland midfielder Kenny McLean says the team is still full of belief despite their poor run of form. They have just one win from their last 14 matches, going into their Nations League fixtures with Croatia and Portugal over the next week. McLean says there is no place for pessimism.
I don't think anybody wants to be suffering at this level. We've got good players, we're a good squad, we're a good team. We need to, believe in ourselves and believe in what we're doing, and we do. We'll go to Croatia with belief that we can get a result. If not, we'd be well just staying back here, to be honest.
Into tennis now, and Carlos Alcaraz says seeing his idol Rafael Nadal retire from tennis will be very difficult. The 22-time Grand Slam champions confirmed the Davis Cup final will be his last ever event as a professional. Alcaraz admits it was his fellow Spaniard who inspired him to pick up a racket.
Since I started playing tennis, I look up to him. Probably thanks to him, I really wanted to become a professional tennis player. So losing him in a certain way is gonna be difficult for us.
In cricket, and England captain Ben Stokes is eyeing a return to the first team for their second test match against Pakistan, according to the stand-in skipper Ollie Pope. Stokes missed the test team's last 4 international fixtures after sustaining a torn hamstring back in August.
No, I'm not 100% now. I know he's been training really well this week, and he's as keen as ever to get playing again. So fingers crossed for everyone. He's all good.
And England women are off to a flyer in their T20 World Cup campaign. They have won both their opening games in the UAE. Their next game is against Scotland in Sharjah. Spin bowler Sarah Glenn is keeping level-headed about their good start.
Obviously our minds, could easily drift to that'd be so nice to win a World Cup and things like that. And that is natural, that is going to happen, and our minds are going to wander. But I think we've been focused on narrowing our focus back, and just whether it's looking back at the past or in the future, we're just focused on being really present.
In boxing, and Conor Benn has shoved Chris Eubank Jr. and called him a dead boy walking after the two British boxers crossed paths in Saudi Arabia. He remains suspended from the sport and awaits a hearing into his ban. Eubank Jr. is in Riyadh to take on Kamil Shurameta tomorrow night on the undercard of the headline fight between Artur Beterbiev and Dimitri Bivol. In sailing now, and Sir Ben Ainsley says captaining Britain to the America's Cup sailing success for the first time would eclipse his achievements at the Olympics. The four-time gold medalist will lead his Ineos Britannia team against New Zealand in the final in Barcelona this weekend. The America's Cup began in 1851, and Ainsley says winning this would be the top of his career highlights.
The fact that Britain has never won it, and we're such a proud sporting and maritime nation, that's the motivation for myself and the rest of the team, and absolutely it would eclipse anything that I've been fortunate to experience at an Olympic level, because it's also a massive team sport.
In rugby, and Hull KR look to make history as they compete in their first ever Super League Grand Final at Old Trafford this weekend. They face the Wigan Warriors, who are looking to complete some history themselves. The Warriors are just 80 minutes away from being the first rugby league side to do the quadruple. I'm joined here with Tom Scrouston as he is up at the game tomorrow. Are you looking forward to it, Tom?
Oh, it's going to be a brilliant spectacle, Jamie. Two record-breaking teams, really. Best season Hull KR have ever had, under Willie Peters, brilliant manager. And then Wigan Warriors, they've just looked unbeatable all year. Brilliant team. They look to win the title for the 7th time, and perhaps hit a quadruple, which no rugby league team has ever done, which, would just be an amazing feat. So, proves to be a brilliant game tomorrow night.
Thank you very much. And with our final rugby story, but in rugby union, Welsh side Dragons have signed Ospreys prop Cameron Jones on loan to solve their injury crisis. He's expected to go straight into their side for his debut on Sunday's game against the Lions. That's all from us for now. I'll be back in an hour with our final show of the day. Remember, you can keep up to date 24 hours a day on our website, which is solentsportsnews.com. Goodbye.